Hello, everybody. My name is Dion Sellitti, and this is my Arts and Performance Entrepreneurship 1 final project. So, my ideal job. I was just given the opportunity to apply for what I consider to be my ideal job, which is the West Point baritone saxophone vacancy. This position details were released August, and materials were due November 3rd. So, I submitted my materials, and my materials were processed. Unfortunately, I did not advance to the live rounds, but I think it was a great experience. Some things about what the military musician entails, or the duties of the military musicians, include preparing repertoire, sight reading, rehearsing, performing under pressure, of course, and also collaborating in small and large ensembles. So you have to be very flexible. You have to play many styles. And I also included arts entrepreneur because a lot of military musicians also have careers that extend outside of their assigned duties or full time duties. These include things like teaching at universities or planning outside gigs, things of that sort. So, moving on to part two, to my professional documents, starting with my bio, which I'll read now. Dion Sellitti is a versatile saxophonist and educator based in South Florida, performing music of all styles. Sellitti regularly performs with the Symphonic Band of the Palm Beaches, where he serves as baritone saxophonist and has been featured soloist on numerous occasions. He also performed alongside the Palm Beach Symphony, Lynn Conservatory Wind Ensemble, and the Florida Atlantic Symphony Orchestra as a featured musician. Although he performs across all genres of music, he is deeply passionate about sharing the classical voice of the saxophone with new audiences. In addition to his performances, he is an avid teacher. Selletti regularly visits Palm Beach County Public Schools, passing along his knowledge to younger musicians, and runs a private studio of his own. Selletti holds a bachelor's degree in music from Florida Atlantic University. Almost. So, some of my portfolio evidence that I wanted to include was just a clip and a screenshot of my materials that I submitted, the top being to the West Point band, and then the bottom being just a project that I wanted to do. These are just the 7 excerpts that I was asked to prepare. 2 of them were on alto saxophone, and 5 were on baritone. Moving on to my CV. So I have listed education at the top, academies attended. I thought that was important. Performances, of course, featured performances. I thought that was also important to separate from the rest of the performances that I've had. And then teaching experience, premieres of pieces or new works, which I was able to do 2 times during my time at Brevard this summer, and then honors and awards. And moving on to my resume, this is actually the resume that I submitted to the West Point band vacancy. And there's a few key differences from most resumes. One of them being the date of birth. They specifically asked for that. And also references. And it's kind of structured a little bit differently because this is specifically what they asked for. Moving on, part 3, SWOT. Strengths, technical proficiencies on my instrument. So, for example, scales and all that. I don't feel limited um, to the music that I can play based on um, my technique. Problem diagnosis. So, what are my problems that I have to fix, and how can I fix them? Musicianship. I'm on time. I'm willing to take criticism, and I am able to work well with people. Moving on to my weaknesses. I struggle with improvisation, which I'm looking into improving. I don't really have an online presence, and I'm lacking a complementary skill, such as arts administration, arranging, audio mixing, engineering. and other instruments. This is another thing that West Point specifically asks for. They ask for a cover letter that specifically augments your resume. So, what else are you good at besides just performing, basically? And when I was typing out my cover letter, I realized that I had a bunch of little hobbies, but wasn't necessarily good at any of them. Next, opportunities. So here in South Florida, the South Florida market, there's an abundance of opportunities to perform and teach. Like Dr. Leon says, even the bad musicians manage to get gigs. And then also more opportunities to network, such as the Navy Symposium, which is um, sort of a conference in Virginia, early January, and then the NASA conference. Both I plan on attending next semester. And then threats would be those with more audition experience. Although I've submitted to the West Point and the Pershing Zone Ceremonial Band, I have not been invited to the audition. So the next step for me would be getting invited there and then going through the complete audition process, which I have not gone through quite yet. Smart goals. Okay. Um, Number one, what I like to do is edit and release 2 pieces of content on social media to establish more of an online presence and give me some sort of trajectory as far as like posting and stuff. I want to transcribe 4 out of 7 tracks of Cannonball Takes Charge, which is an album that I'm really enjoying. This will help me work on my improvisation. Another thing, this might sound silly, but I'd like to meet a particular person that I'm interested in going to graduate school with at the Navy Symposium. Um, and then what I'd like to do is add 3 more students to my private studio by March 2026. Moving on, the Triple I framework. So I've been studying with Professor Kyle Metchmet, and I've also, excuse me, I've also attended some institutes over the summer, including Great Plains and Brevard Music Center. As far as immersion, how am I applying the things that I've learned? I'm competing in competitions, including MTNA and Van Doren Emerging Artist competitions. I'm also taking on recording projects, um, which I've recorded the Rachmaninoff Cello Sonata, Movements 3 and 4, and Hear Them by Carlos Simon. And then immersion, passing on knowledge from my instruction to my students. I find that this helps me also um, establish what I know really well and what I don't. And then imagination. The instruction opens many doors for future studies. I've met a lot of people and professors that I would like to work with in the future. I just have to keep building those relationships. Part 5, forecast. The artist I am becoming. I am becoming a well-rounded artist who is capable of performing in many settings and styles while still having a draw to classical music. I am also becoming a teacher capable of fostering growth within students. And the life I envision is pretty simple. I just envision a career as an arts entrepreneur where I can support a family doing what I love and be excited to go to work. And there's evidence for this. There's an increase in my teaching gigs that I'm having right now, as well as featured performances, which I find very key. Part 6. What is my 12-month plan? Scale. Strategy. What is my 12-month plan? So what I would like to do is establish a routine, maybe January and February, and then experiment with my complementary skills that can make me more competitive. And then throughout the rest of the year, just refining those and keeping with the routine. Craft. What must I strengthen? Improvisation and complementary skills, like we just talked about. How am I aligned with these military style jobs? I'm able to play all saxophones in many different styles and settings, and I'm able to work well with others. Leverage and what can accelerate growth. The relationships I have made with future professors can be developed further. Um, and also, I will have some time off after graduation just to kind of let all the information that I've learned the past 4 years settle. I think that's very important, and I see myself growing a lot within the next year. And then execution. What actions will I take weekly slash monthly? And most of it is just evaluating my growth as an instrumentalist and as an artist, and just tracking my complementary skills, again, to make me more competitive. And then, of course, meet people and experience new things. So, in conclusion, part 7, audition and alignment mindset. How do I plan to live at the level of the opportunity I seek? Well, I have to stay disciplined and keep a routine. I have to put myself in uncomfortable situations regularly, and I have to prioritize physical and mental fitness to maximize my productivity. And now, how do I plan to reset after setbacks and treat drafts, applications, and pitches as prototypes? I will reevaluate strengths and weaknesses to assess why I had a particular outcome, view failures as redirection to something greater, and continue to stay disciplined in the routine even during waiting periods or after setbacks. And that is my presentation. Thank you.